Welcome back to the breakdown. I am DELACREMEDELA, your privileged host, and this is the breakdown show. I wish I could come live this evening and share this information with you guys. I just don't feel like it. I'm tired. I just had an amazing Epsom salt bath, and I'm just ready to lay down after I get done with this. So we're going to keep this quick and short and sweet. As I said, this is the Breakdown Show, and this is the De La Creme de la channel. I want to thank you for being here. Before we go into what we are breaking down, let me just ask you first if you are here and if you are able to hear me okay, and if you can see the Village of Dolton logo on your screen, could you hit the like button? That'll let me know that we're on the same page. Now, I love it when I board a flight and they be like, now this flight is going to such and such. If you don't plan to be there, you need to get off. So I'm going to let you know right now we are about to have a conversation surrounding a news story that gives us a couple pieces of information about the subpoenas that were issued at the Village of Dolton on Friday. Now, let me just introduce you to the house rules as I have introduced you to the topic for tonight, because they are associated with each other. The house rules and the topic, and you'll find out why in just a moment. But before I go into those house rules, if you would go ahead and share this with a friend, somebody you love, somebody you hate, somebody who you know is probably into this type of shit, talking shit about shitty politicians. Go ahead and share the link. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already. If you haven't already and you've been here more than once, you obviously like being here. And sometimes people subscribe just for the topic. I get it. I understand the ebbs and flows of having a YouTube channel. So I understand that the channel grows with certain topics. And then after this is over, because it will be, after this is over and we start talking about something else, the subscriber count will go down because YouTube will go in and automatically start purging subscribers who aren't watching the content. And that's okay. I don't live, breathe, die, poop, or eat by the subscriber count. It doesn't mean as much to me as it probably should. I'm just glad you're here. If you have subscribed, that means that you want to know when new content is posted on this channel. So thank you so much for wanting to know. Now, I've asked you to like, I've asked you to share, and I've asked you to subscribe. Check. That is number one on my agenda of like 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Tiffany, I just got number one done, honey. Anyway, so next things next. Let's go ahead and dig into these house rules, honey. So house rule number one, this is what? Not a no judgment zone, honey. This is a place where we see what we say and we say what we see, baby. Based on our intellect, based on our insight, based on our intuition, honey. Based on what we know, based on what we think, and based on what we feel, honey. We see what we say and we say what we see. It doesn't seem like I've had to have that conversation as much lately. You know? And so I'll go on to house rule number 2, since we seem to be comfortable with that one. This ain't for kids, and I haven't had to have a conversation with nobody about that in the last couple weeks either. This is not for churn. Man, I be catching my daughter criticizing people on TV, and I be like, baby, that's De La Creme de la. Okay? That's what she do. You ain't De La Creme de la, nor are you trying to be, baby. You want to be in a place where you can definitely criticize and analyze. But, baby, you ain't got to read a bitch down like that, honey. My baby be reading. Do you hear me? My baby be in the back of the room listening to me watch whatever. She be in her bedroom or whatever. She be like, he lying. He lying. I be like, you heard it, didn't you? But I definitely would not say this content is for children, specifically because I like to talk about dick and pussy. We talk a lot about stuff like that. And I love the fact that this channel is commercial free, so we can have free conversation. I don't have to use code words. And now that we talking about old nasty ass Andrew and Michael, and who's that other rapist friend that Tiffany got? The one with them R&B eyes. He look like he hungry. The conversation can easily become not for children. Okay, so I definitely wouldn't recommend you put this on if you are around children who you don't like to hear little inappropriate conversation, okay, for little ears. Now, I haven't had to worry about that one too much. And even number 3, house rule number 3, we seem to be doing a real good job. You know, house rule number 3 basically is, if you ain't black, watch what the fuck you say about black people in the chat. Now, let me just give you a quick litmus test real quick so that you'll know, okay? I'm going to give you a good old litmus test, okay? So that you could tell me if it's appropriate for you to speak about the Tiffanys and them, the Doltons and them, pertaining to the race of them. If you ain't never made a Kool-Aid baggie, if you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I ain't just talking, now I'm honing in on the niggas, okay? I'm honing in. If you ain't never made a Kool-Aid baggie, huh? Okay. Then please be very careful how you speak. Or just don't. You stick to the business, stick to the politics. That's what I say. If you ain't never made a Kool-Aid baggie, or you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, then you probably should just speak about the business and the politics as we discuss this Tiffany Henyard Dolton shit, okay? Now, number 4. I'm going to give you a number 4, okay? Because I had to come up with a number 4 today. I realized that there are people who like to go around to different people's chats. They pop in, motherfuckers don't say hi to nobody. They just start rambling shit. They ain't got shit to do. Now, see, that's why I had this bitch on subscriber mode only. You people got mad because I put it on subscriber mode, and I said because of this type of shit. Now, I don't want to do that again because I believe everybody has a right to subscribe and not subscribe. I realized that I think I'm now down to like 81%. I'm closing that gap, bitch. About 81% of people who watch my channel on a regular basis are not subscribed. I get it. It's okay. I don't care. Lots of people don't subscribe. I watch plenty of people and look back and be like, God damn, I didn't know I wasn't subscribed to you. So right now, let me ask you, go and flip the thing over and subscribe real quick. But let me say this. This is rule number 4, and this is the one we're going to have to focus on a little bit, okay? And I need the help from the moderators mostly. And if you are a supporter of this channel and the integrity of this content, I ask that anybody hold people accountable to this. Let them know one of the rules on this channel is you do not come over in this channel just blah, 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 blah. Don't do that shit, okay? If the conversation is not about a particular thing, don't come in the chat talking about that shit. It is rude and distasteful. It's not cute. Okay? It's disremotherfucking spectful. Okay? I have had people who join my panel to try to take conversations off of what I'm intended to talk about. Baby, dealt with. Honey, in my own little classy way. Okay? Respect this channel enough. Don't tell me what not to talk about. And do not come in this chat or in these comments. I'm just going to say it like it needs to be said. Don't come in this motherfucker telling people what you think about shit that ain't even being discussed. And I notice it's usually the very first few people that come in. I get it. Because it usually gets knocked out quick. But that's going to be a thing. I'm serious. That's got to be a thing. We gotta have some respect and some etiquette when it comes to these chats. Come in, have enough common sense and decency to fill the room out. Listen to what's being presented. Even if you coming over to defend your favorite YouTuber because I've had to put them under our microscope, let me tell you this. Listen first, bitch. Don't be coming over here making yourself look stupid. Okay? Because nobody will ever hear from you again over here. Okay? And I don't pay any of my bills with YouTube. Not none of them. And I got big bills. None of my bills get paid with YouTube. This is my hobby. Okay? This is my hobby. Okay? Speaking of my hobby, let me talk to that's our house rules, y'all. I'm gonna take my my mama hat off for a second now that I get to relax a little bit. Shout out to Patreon, the folks who have joined us on Patreon. I am so proud of how the Patreon family is growing. You guys motivate me to make more content. You motivate me to make better content, to give you something worth you joining us on Patreon, to make it make sense for you to have joined that community. I try to make sure that I up my game and up my content both in quality and quantity. If you notice, once we switched over to Patreon, I started giving you more content and trying to make sure that I don't just come with 1 or 2 things a week, but I actually give you something. And I realize that a lot of y'all like real content. Y'all don't want no 30-40 minute video. Y'all want to sit and break this shit down and take your time and ease into it. And I feel you. So I'm definitely giving you more of that as well. I do feel the tide moving to where I'm gonna have to put some things on Patreon only because I have noticed some of the hiccups on my channel, even being non-monetized, dealing with this Tiffany Henyard stuff. I've noticed that there's a time or two where I can tell that that somebody don't like what I'm talking about. And YouTube will let you know if complaints are being made. So I definitely always upload to Patreon first. Even though things go to YouTube as an unlisted video, you're able to see them if you've joined Patreon first. That way, the core of the breakdown crew is able to actually see the content. That way, when I do release it in a big premiere for everybody, if it gets taken down, hey, somebody got to see it. The core got to see it. So, and by the way, one of the benefits of joining us on Patreon is the early access that you get to episodes, as well as a 24/7 chat where we can kind of chop it up in between the episodes. So if you have any questions about that, check in with one of the moderators. They have the link to Patreon so that you can get started today. All right, so I think that is my intro completely. Let me just check in with you one more time. Because it was really weird when I uploaded a video recently and my audio was not on the video at all. And I came and listened to the same exact video that I uploaded to YouTube and my audio was there. So I was like, come on, YouTube. I unmonetized my channel so I didn't have to worry about this shit. Because they seem to kind of give you a little bit more freedom when people get mad at you. You notice that I have like these same 4 or 5 dislikes on every video. It's cute. Thanks for watching and thank you for engaging. But yeah, we're definitely gonna be shifting over to Patreon so that we can have the freedom as this stuff gets deeper. So anyway, welcome to all of you. If you are able to still hear me, if you're able to hear me, if you're here with me still, if those house rules jive with what you're trying to do tonight, please go ahead and slide over and hit that like button, hit that share button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. That might be the last time I ask you. I'm getting more comfortable asking now. That's why I like moderating for other channels, because I never have a hard time supporting other channels. That's easy for me to go on other channels and be like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to my own channel, I be all shy about it. I'll be depending on the moderators to do it, and y'all do an amazing job. So thank you. So welcome all. Welcome to the Breakdown crew. Welcome if you are a long time Breakdown watcher. If you were with us back when we was talking about Krishan and them. If you've been on the journey with us when we had to talk about Ayanla and them, Jaguar and them, Jay Morris and them. We have covered so many here. But welcome to the Breakdown crew, whether you are an old or new member of the Breakdown crew, whether you are a moderator, which I call the staff of the Breakdown crew, whether you are a passenger, which I consider to be somebody who's just hanging out, maybe not necessarily in the chat, maybe one of them cute little bush babies who like to hang out and eat the berries. That definitely is a passenger. And then we got the stowaways, the trolls that always come and see how far they can get before they get booted. You can't hear, honey. This ain't the chat. You can't listen. You don't want to do that here. Our level of tolerance is low for bullshit here. I am 43 years old. And I remember when my mother started getting this age, we thought she went crazy because she just didn't put up with no shit. Do you hear me? And I understand why now. Her doctor explained it to her. Her doctor said, you just ain't got to an age where you tired of that bullshit. It ain't chemical. Ain't no chemicals in your body that's telling you to tell people to start treating you with some respect and not putting up with no shit. That's you. Well, that's me tonight. So I'm really not in the mood to put up with any shit. So if you are a stowaway here as a troll, stay there. Don't come out. Just stay there. Enjoy this. Write your notes and disagree with me in silence. That's what I have to do with some channels too. Anyway, welcome to all. Welcome to all. So I would like to take a look at a video that was released, I want to say 3 hours ago, but I've watched it several times in about the last hour or two. 5 hours now. Wow, that was a beautiful bath. That was an amazing bath. I didn't realize it was even that long. Because I wanted to study this video a lot because there's a lot in it. Although it is a short video, the video itself is only 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Dame Placo is a master journalist. Do you hear me? That person has mastered putting a lot of information into a small... He's old school. Back in the day, we only had 1 minute and 30 seconds to give you a good story. And usually that was going to be either the story that was going to get you to come back later for a bigger story, or that was the story for the night. But 1 minute and 30 was all we had. So he's got 2:38 here, and he made the most of it. Like, he packed a lot of information here. It's a very comprehensive story that will most likely... be used by the FBI for one reason or another. So what I'd like to do, I actually had a lot of questions that came up while I was studying this video. And I'm going to ask for those of you who have experience. I know a lot of you have told me that you have family who's worked for the FBI, or are politicians, or you have some knowledge of these types of things. I have some questions, and since I decided not to go live tonight, I decided to ask you the questions instead. Beyonce's best friend, Shakira, said that nothing beautiful comes without sacrifice. And since I decided not to go live, which gives me the beauty of being able to be here in my home with my Aquaphor all over my face and in my slippers with my glasses on, chilling, since I get the beauty of that, then I have the sacrifice of not having all the answers or being able to present all the answers to you. But I'm also going to depend on you guys to answer some of the questions that I have, so that I don't have to go looking. Because Lord, that hike yesterday, I think it kind of, I don't know what happened. Oh, it was a fucking crazy ass hike, and it was hot. It was about 95 degrees when we were out there yesterday, and it was not even noon yet. Lord, it was something. It was crazy, and I didn't stretch afterwards like I was supposed to, so it threw me off. I was down for the count yesterday. When I say down for the count, I mean yesterday was a couch day, okay? After I came home from that hike, it was a bathtub couch day. I mothered from the sofa yesterday. So anyway, let's get into this video. Now, I have stirred up enough intrigue. You can see what's on the screen. The title of this video, and this comes from Fox 32. Whoever thought we'd be watching so much Fox, right? But Fox 32 is bringing the tea from Dolton, baby. That's that damn Dame Placo who said, Keith, you blocked me when I was trying to get questions from the mayor. I told you I was going to get you, bitch. You should have just let me go ahead and ask my questions. Now I got to go around and do investigations and find out shit for myself. And I'm about to tell the whole world. Dame Placo was one of them little boys in school who told, okay? I believe Dame Placo has always had white hair. I believe when Dame Placo, because you know Dame Placo, believe it or not, got a little baby face. I know he wrinkly like, you know, milk and shit. He looked like George Bush's mama, but he got that little baby face. You could tell what he looked like a little boy. Dame Placo would walk up to his teacher, pull her skirt. Such and such said such and such. Little tattletale boy, shut the fuck up. But he sure did turn it into an amazing career that's buying him some good karma. Now, Dame Placo, if you really want to get the tea on Dolton, you should interview Carl Wilson. Justice for Alexis Wilson. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get into this. The title is FBI Subpoenas Shed Light on Dolton Corruption Probe. Let me see if there's more information there. The description says, details have emerged regarding the subpoenas served by the FBI in Dolton on Friday amid ongoing corruption allegations within the community. Okay. I plan to what Stan say, scrub this video down. I mean, we are going to take a look at everything. I am going to take a look. We're going to watch this video. We're going to break it down. We're going to read the comments. We are going to unpack this video together. Oh, I didn't know I wasn't subscribed. See, that happens, don't it? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't have that same embarrassing feeling I just had. All right, so why don't we watch this first? Let me turn on some captions for us. And I wonder, there we go.
We're learning much more today about what exactly is in the subpoenas served by the FBI in Dolton Friday.
That amid ongoing allegations of corruption in that community. And Dame Placo is live in Dolton with the update this afternoon for us. Dame?
Yeah, that's right. On Friday, FBI agents served a pair of subpoenas here at Dolton Village Hall, part of their ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Well, today, we got copies of those two subpoenas. Here they are right here, and they offer something of a roadmap, some clues as to what the feds are looking at. So, Trustee, we got copies of the subpoenas. Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We show the subpoenas to Dolton trustee Tammy Brown, delivered by 4 FBI agents at Dolton Village Hall Friday afternoon. They're directed to the Village of Dolton's custodian of records, a subpoena to testify before a grand jury. And that's our first confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of corruption in Dolton.
Oh my God. Someone has heard our cry. Finally, someone has heard the residents of Dolton, and they're actually going to do something about it now.
One subpoena asked for the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed the names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
The second subpoena asks for information about Village Administrator Keith Freeman, Mayor Henyard's top deputy, including payments, tax records, and any contracts given to a list of companies, some of which are associated with Freeman, according to a search of LLC records.
You have 2 separate subpoenas for 2 different types of records. And that means it's what I would call a multifaceted or a multi-pronged investigation. They're not just looking at one allegation of criminal wrongdoing, but they're looking at multiple.
Now, the subpoenas instruct a representative of Dolton to appear before the federal grand jury on May 13th at 9:30 a.m. to return the records, to hand over the records that were requested in these two subpoenas. However, former FBI agent Ross Rice, who you heard there just a moment ago, speculates that there is still a long way to go in this investigation. Live in Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Dane, thank you.
Now I want to go back and watch that video again. I want to pay very close attention to a few different things. I want to pay attention to what those subpoenas are actually for. And I want to kind of tie that in with the footage that was actually used to illustrate this story. But I'm not going to share my notes with you yet. I would prefer if we just watch this again. And then I'll share my notes and my questions.
We're learning much more today about what exactly is in the subpoenas served by the FBI in Dolton Friday.
That amid ongoing allegations of corruption in.
Please forgive me for interrupting. I also want to just say that I'm very grateful that I'm able to use this footage from Fox 32 Chicago according to fair use. So thank you so much for making this video. And according to the Copyright Act of 1976 and the allowance for fair use, I'm able to use this footage for purposes like news, research, scholarship, and a couple other things. So we'll mainly use it for news and research and a little bit of a critique as well.
That community, and Dane Placco is live in Dolton with the update this afternoon for us. Dane?
Yeah, that's right. On Friday, FBI agents served a pair of subpoenas here at Dolton Village Hall, part of their ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Well, today, we got copies of those two subpoenas. Here they are right here, and they offer something of a roadmap, some clues as to what the feds are looking at. So, Trustee, we got copies of the subpoenas. Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We show the subpoenas to Dolton trustee Tammy Brown, delivered by 4 FBI agents at Dolton Village Hall Friday afternoon. They're directed to the Village of Dolton's custodian of records, assigned to testify before a grand jury. And that's our first confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of corruption in Dolton.
Oh my God. Someone has heard our cry. Finally, someone has heard the residents of Dolton, and they're actually going to do something about it now.
One subpoena asked for the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed the names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
The second subpoena asks for information about Village Administrator Keith Freeman, Mayor Henyard's top deputy, including payments, tax records, and any contracts given to a list of companies, some of which are associated with Freeman, according to a search of LLC records.
You have two separate subpoenas for two different types of records. And that means it's what I would call a multifaceted or a multi-pronged investigation. They're not just looking at one allegation of criminal wrongdoing, but they're looking at multiple.
Now, the subpoenas instruct a representative of Dolton to appear before the federal grand jury on May 13th at 9:30 a.m. to return the records, to hand over the records that were requested in these two subpoenas. However, former FBI agent Ross Rice, who you heard there just a moment ago, speculates that there is still a long way to go in this investigation. Live in Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Dane, thank you.
Okay. I took a fucking gang of notes. But I want us to listen to that one more time. I want us to get an opportunity to hear what was said uninterrupted one more time. Because I want to take a slow walk through this video and break it down. Like, there's a lot of information. When I say Dane Placco is a beast at this, I wish... Oh my God, he gave us an entire 60 minutes episode in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. And now I do believe that Dane Placo is going to get the big story for this. Like, he's the one who probably, just out of respect for his tenure in the business, I believe that he is going to get the big story, like the big episode. Like, he's gonna get a full night, a Sunday night episode on Fox 32, where he gets to sit down with somebody and talk about his journey in this story. I hope he gets that. Now, I think the only way we'll give him that kind of reward is if he interviews Carl Wilson. Like, that's the only way we would give him that kind of glory, you know. But, you know, that's up to him. Like I said, everything beautiful is going to come with a sacrifice. So it may take him interviewing Carl Wilson for him to receive the grace and the nod, the glory that we all seek when we do this work. Who doesn't want somebody saying, shout outs to you for bringing the tea. Shout outs to you for bringing the information. Thank you for keeping me informed. Thank you for, you know, I'm glad you were the one I could get the information from. Dane Placo once said as much as anybody else. And for him to be able to have a Sunday evening full episode where he gets to just talk about his journey in this story, would definitely take the sacrifice of him talking to Carl Wilson. So hopefully he does that. Or even Mr. Alonzo Wilson, you know, sit down from one father to another and talk about it. You know, whatever. You got options. You've thought about it already, so go ahead and go for it. You got the angle, and you got the tea anyway to support the story, Dane. So go for it. Anyway, I do want to watch that again, so that we can digest that information one more time. And then I've got some insight and some questions for you guys.
We're learning much more today about what exactly is in the subpoenas served by the FBI and Dolton.
Oh, and just in case you're just now joining us, if you will go ahead and hit that like button and lock in lock in your seat in the Breakdown crew by subscribing. Thank you so much for doing that. Thanks for rocking with us.
Friday.
That amid ongoing allegations of corruption in that community, and Dane Placo is live in Dolton with the update this afternoon for us. Dane?
Yeah, that's right. On Friday, FBI agents served a pair of subpoenas here at Dolton Village Hall, part of their ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Well, today, we got copies of those two subpoenas. Here they are right here, and they offer something of a roadmap, some clues as to what the feds are looking at. So, Trustee, we got copies of the subpoenas. Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We show the subpoenas to Dolton trustee Tammy Brown, delivered by 4 FBI agents at Dolton Village Hall Friday afternoon. They're directed to the Village of Dolton's custodian of records, subpoenaed to testify before a grand jury. And that's our first confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of corruption in Dolton.
Oh my God. Someone has heard our cry. Finally, someone has heard the residents of Dolton, and they're actually going to do something about it now.
One subpoena asked for the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed the names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
The second subpoena asks for information about Village Administrator Keith Freeman, Mayor Henyard's top deputy, including payments, tax records, and any contracts given to a list of companies, some of which are associated with Freeman, according to a search of LLC records.
You have 2 separate subpoenas for 2 different types of records. And that means it's what I would call a multifaceted or a multi-pronged investigation. They're not just looking at one allegation of criminal wrongdoing, but they're looking at multiple.
Now, the subpoenas instruct a representative of Dolton to appear before the federal grand jury on May 13th at 9:30 a.m. to return the records, to hand over the records that were requested in these 2 subpoenas. However, former FBI agent Ross Rice, who you heard there just a moment ago, speculates that there is still a long way to go in this investigation. Live in Dolton, Dane Placo, Fox 32 Chicago.
Dane, thank you.
I think the reason why I did enjoy watching this story so many times, because I have watched it now probably close to, I'm not going to say how many times. I needed to study this for some reason. I needed to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I've noticed it in a couple videos. I missed sharing information with you guys because either it was the first time I had seen it or I hadn't seen it enough to formulate my conclusion about it. And so I missed sharing an opportunity to share some insight or information with you. So I wanted to make sure I gave you a very thorough breakdown, to be honest with you. So I watched it a lot, but also it kind of felt like I heard in the background, "Can't you feel a brand new day? Can't you feel a brand new day?" Like I heard it in the background. Like it was some little nigglets on Dame Placo's shoulder. Like the nigglets from Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Hood. You remember them little nigglets that was in the plantation on Tales from the Hood who came and killed that man because he was racist? Yeah, we still do that. But I think it was some little nigglets on Dame Placo's shoulder dancing, talking about some, oh, Don't get me to singing tonight. I've been smoking. Listen. But I heard the song in the background. Like, I'm liking how things are kind of wrapping up. I'm liking how things are coming together. I appreciate this because I'm going to tell you something. I ain't no sit around and watch shit type of bitch when shit ain't popping. Like, things have to be moving forward. Progression has to be happening. I can't continue to work on this story if it's just 2 meetings a month where she acts stupid. Does something, act like a monkey in the meeting. Like, I can't keep, like, that's not what motivates me to be here. What motivates me to be here is to look at the progression of the situation actually coming to something. We are the breakdown crew. We enjoy analyzing shit, but we do have a bent when it comes to justice and action to move things forward with our energy. That whole breaking things down breaks curses, breaks spells, breaks manipulation, breaks control, and the right forces can come in. It breaks the bond of the situation. It loosens the bond so the right forces, the right energies, the right action can take place and things happen the right way. Because these things should not be happening. Okay? Just plain and simple, they shouldn't be. So I'm grateful that the thing is moving forward and getting closer to resolution, and it's moving steadily, okay? And I can't wait to give you my opinions even more about that. So what we're going to do right now is now we are going to rewatch it. And I am going to stop, interrupt, share my insights, maybe even zoom in a little bit. We'll see. I got a few notes, not many. But I do have a couple notes and a couple might come up. I have a couple questions for you guys. If you could just share with me what you know, even if it is a little speculation, just so that I can have some clarity, because I don't know everything about this stuff. As most of us don't, that's why it's so fascinating. Just to uncover and learn more about the governmental process and law enforcement and how all these things work together and how law enforcement holds government accountable. It's a really beautiful thing. This is beautiful. Like, it's been a beautiful year so far. I've been to SeaWorld twice. Well, 6 times, but 2 visits. It's been a great year. So anyway, let me allow this to play again. I will stop and interrupt from time to time to do my thing. Let's go.
We're learning much more today about what exactly is in the subpoena served by the FBI in Dolton Friday.
That amid ongoing allegations of corruption in that community. And Dane Placo is live in Dolton with the update this afternoon for us. Dane?
Yeah, that's right. On Friday, FBI agents served a pair of subpoenas here at Dolton Village Hall, part of their ongoing investigation into allegations of corruption by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Well, today, we got copies of those 2 subpoenas. Here they are right here.
Wait, I got to give this to y'all. I thought it was so interesting that he held them up like that, because that was how Tiffany Henyard held up that piece of paper with those yellow highlights that was supposed to prove the trustee shut down the credit cards that no one has seen. And all those stacks of receipts, none of them were a piece of paper with yellow highlights that proves the trustee. I'm just going to give this a real thorough, nitpicky breakdown. I love how petty Dame Placo is. I love him because that's exactly how she held that paper. And then we never saw it again. And what we see there is a subpoena. 2 of them. I'm excited already. Let's go.
And they offer something of a roadmap, some clues as to what the feds are looking at. So, trustee, we got copies of the subpoenas.
Now, I want to make note of something real quick that I noticed. Now, if you take a look at these pieces of paper, you will notice that they are slightly dog-eared, but not in the purposeful sense where somebody purposely folded them over. I want to compare them to another set of documents that I talked about recently. So do you remember when we were looking at all those manila folders, those manila envelopes that Lacey had that was supposed to show us all the stuff that had been happening at Pablo's and all the other places? And I said those look like they were just printed today, or they've just been sitting in the back of his car for the last couple days and they haven't actually been worked with or used. Well, you can tell Dame Placo has studied these documents. He didn't just print these documents out, put them in his suit coat or his suit pocket, and then go do a story. No, he has been studying those documents. Okay? Those documents didn't get folded from the wind. All right? He has been studying those subpoenas. He's been researching what's in them. I would even say right now that what Dame Placo knows about these subpoenas is more than what's in this story. Just based on how I see he been playing with these papers. Heck yeah. He know exactly what he doing.
Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We show the subpoena.
Wait, I want to show y'all a little piece in totality and tell you what I think about it. Hold on.
Here, and they offer something of a roadmap, some clues as to what the feds are looking at.
Y'all tell me if this conversation don't seem like something from Cheaters.
So, trustee, we got copies of the subpoenas. Would you like to look at them?
Absolutely.
We show the subpoenas to Dolton trustee Tammy Brown, delivered by 4 FBI agents at Dolton Village Hall Friday afternoon. They're directed to the Village of Dolton's custodian of records.
Now, let me mention 2 things. One thing is really important. The other thing is kind of shady. I'll mention the shady one first. I think it is so funny how Dame Placo keeps saying in this story to Tiffany, bitch, stop lying on my name. Put some respect on my shit. Because over and over again, this conversation has gone around. I wasn't rated. Misery loves company. Stay focused. Who her little dumb ass. But Dame Placo has said over and over subliminally, bitch, you ain't gonna keep saying shit didn't happen. Cause I got 2 motherfucking subpoenas right here, and I got videotape of the feds. I got videotape of the FBI in your lobby. Where were you, Tiffany? How come you ain't been to work in a week, Tiffany? Ain't you always working? Ain't you about the people? But you ain't been to work in a week. But you said to the assessor in Thornton Township and to the trustees of Dolton that they can't do nothing, no work, no business away from the headquarters. Where you been, Tiffany? Where you been? You listen. Where have you been, Keith? Where have y'all been? The FBI was at the thing. And from what I understand, they did go down to the basement. From what I hear, they went down to the basement. And what the documents they needed to get wasn't there. Now, I'm going to speculate a little bit. Because you just heard Dame Placo say that the... Look at with me. I haven't looked at these yet as close as I should. I was taking a beautiful, wonderful, luxurious sativa bath while I was listening to this. So this is my first time zooming in on these documents. And I'm glad this is here because my memory is limited right now. Okay? It is important for us to know that this subpoena is addressed in attention to the custodian of records. Who is the custodian of records? Please put her name and her title in the chat. I'll give you a hint. This person has the key to the records, honey. But the records have been removed from her. Yes, they have, from what I understand. From what I heard Trustee Brown say on Friday, the records have been removed from the clerk. So now, what's going to happen on May 13th at 9 o'clock a.m. when it's time for them to present said records? And they didn't say the doggone, I want somebody to go. They didn't say the clerk had to be there. They said a representative. Okay, so let me read this since we got it right here. It is the United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. I was wondering who the actual subpoena was from. Was it the United States or was it Illinois? Like, I literally was wondering. It says United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, subpoena to testify before a grand jury. It's addressed to the Village of Dolton in attention of the custodian of records, aka Clerk Allison Key, and it has the address of the village hall. It says in big black bold, baby, you are commanded to commanded, honey. No. This ain't no request speech. This ain't no invitation, huh? This a command, and don't ever get it twisted. You are commanded. Now, I would have to say this is to Clerk Key. Excuse me, because it specifically says in attention of the custodian of records. So I have to say, and I'm going to say it respectfully, because I don't talk to Clerk Key like Tiffany Henyard talks to Clerk Key. I think Tiffany is a raggedy old bitch. I talk to her like a raggedy old bitch. But I believe that Clerk Allison Key is a woman of distinction. I believe that she is a woman of accuracy, excellence. I believe she's extremely intelligent and wise. I believe that she's so mature. You know, like, I could think of a million times if I talked to my mama like Tiffany Henyard talked to Clerk Key, my mama would have just got up and, them knuckles, I'm talking about at 43 years old, them knuckles would have been in my mouth. What? Y'all don't know. She said, I ain't always been saved. That's what my mama told me. But I have seen Clerk Key shut down an argument without having to say a word. I have learned so much from her about being a woman in those moments and not having to get the last word, not having to give the smart remark. One thing you'll notice about Clerk Key is she stay real low, low fucking key. She ain't jumping in front of no cameras. She ain't doing that shit, but she powerful. So I'm going to read this the way it's supposed to be read to the custodian of records, who is at no fault in this situation and has been played around with like a yo-yo by the administration of the Village of Dolton. Okay? Thank you for doing the right thing, Clerk Key. To the Village of Dolton, attention, custodian of records, the address there. You are commanded to appear in this United States District Court at the time, date, and place shown below to testify before the court's grand jury. When you arrive, you must remain at the court until the judge or court officer allows you to leave. Wow, that is scary. There's the address. Now, I see the grand jury, the name of the grand jury, they kind of name them like teams. I like that. This grand jury, it looks like they came together in November of 2023. Oh, Tiffany Henry, you didn't know they was working on you that long? Baby, you thought you was just going to be out here doing dumb shit? Oh, this didn't just start. Yeah, you better hope you shredded enough records. Because, I mean, they started working on you in November. So, if you just started shredding the records 2 weeks ago, baby, they had already infiltrated. Remember old Heidi Kaleidoscope that used to pop around and nobody saw her no more after a couple meetings? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, the date and time is May 13th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Now, keep in mind, Tiffany, you got a busy little summer. I got a popping ass summer. Whew, it's going to be nice over here. But Tiffany Hager, you know, crime never pays. So you're going to spend your whole summer in court in hot ass, muggy ass Illinois. And I get to be in Mexico. Damn, my parents promised me when I was little, and the devil promised me not long ago, that as long as I did the right thing, everything would be all right. Seek first righteousness, joy, peace, love, and everything you need is going to be added to you. Seek first a life that gives the best energy into the atmosphere, so that just like a boomerang, good shit will come back and smack you in the face. You ain't got to worry about nothing when you do the right thing. When you operate in a spirit of satisfaction, gratefulness, thankfulness, you will find yourself being so blessed. Because I have chills about how awesome my summer is going to be. Listen, Tiffany, don't forget, you got court in June, too, about that Andrew Holmes shit. You know, that civil suit. I'm not going to tell the people what the court date is right now because I can't really remember. But I'll bring it forward as we get closer, you know. We can only deal with one thing at a time. So anyway, Clerk Key, I think you're going to be fine. You know what to do. Now, let me continue. You must also bring with you the following documents: electronically stored information or objects, blank if not applicable. Listen, there is an attachment, but I don't see it, Lord. 2 subpoenas, and I believe those extra pages we see off to the side are the attachments that tell us everything we need to know. Let's continue. Ooh.
Needed to testify before a grand jury, and that's our first confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of corruption in Dolton.
Oh my God.
Now, let me jump in here because actually, let me go back and let us listen to that as a full segment so I can ask you guys a really important question.
Needed to testify before a grand jury, and that's our first confirmation that a federal grand jury has been impaneled to investigate allegations of corruption in Dolton.
Oh my God. Someone has heard our cry.
Her name is Lori Lightfoot. The devil told me to tell you that Lori Lightfoot would love for you to call her by name. She don't mind if you don't. Because she doing her thing. You know, she says y'all spelled it right on the check. That's good. But she you know, she might do a little extra something, investigation, twist and turns, get things right and get things in order for you if you just go ahead and give her the praise that she deserves. Her name is Lori Lightfoot. That is the somebody who heard your cry. The cry was in the form of a $30,000 check. That's what had happened. You went and paid the devil his fee, and you got what you needed. You got the work done. You went down to the old lady's house with the big forehead. You know the lady likes to sit outside and smoke the reefer. You went on down to her house down there by the bayou. I only got one accent, y'all. I only got one accent. But listen, you went on down there to that lady's house, that old lady house. You know, everybody's scared of her. They call her Uncle Lori. But you went on down there with that check, didn't you? And now you see things are shaking and you see things are moving. She been wanting to do this for y'all for a long time. I promise you. I promise you. She been wanting to help y'all for a long time. I have a feeling, especially with the speed at which things are happening. Lori Lightfoot's investigation began on April 8th, but I guarantee you she had already lined this shit up. This shit is dropping like she had already started working on this shit. Because every single angel and every single demon and every single god and every single devil is just waiting for you to put them to work. I'm telling you, it isn't by accident that Lori Lightfoot has only been on the case since April 8th. Her work started on April 9th, 2024. Today is April 22nd. Okay? We're not talking about a long time. And look what has happened already. She's had Andrew Holmes outed, exposed. She's given the victim of Andrew Holmes enough security and peace and comfort to know that she can move forward with this lawsuit against Tiffany Henyard because she is now protected. So that information could come out and that court date could be released. Now the ball is moving. And we're not talking about a court date. Tiffany Henyard got a court date some 6 months down the road. A lot of times that's what happens. But let me tell you what I know. Whenever your judge set a court date that quick, she's encouraging you. They are encouraging you to settle quickly. Because I've been involved in lawsuits where the court date was set out to a certain date. Like, come on. Because that first day is really just to see if the case is really worthy of the court and if it should move toward a settlement. That's really what that first court date is for. Excuse me. And so what I believe that court is doing by setting that date for June is pressuring the Village of Dolton, aka Tiffany Henyard, to go ahead and move toward settlement quickly. Because once that date comes, the options for settlement at a certain price get lower and lower. You gonna have to give up some money if they are already in litigation. But anyway, that's my little side piece on that. I am proud to see what is happening, what Lori Lightfoot is getting done there. Now, I did have a couple questions about the grand jury. Okay, that was the messy part. This is the intelligent part. Now, what does it take for the grand jury to actually get involved? Because I think I've seen where some of these cases didn't involve a grand jury. So what does it take? And we see now that grand jury came together in November 2023. What does it take? What does that process look like for a grand jury coming together? The only time I've ever seen a grand jury come together, because I don't get into shit like this in my real life. Like, I'm a real honorable person. I don't get involved with situations where I am going to be examined by a grand jury. Like, what? That's crazy to me. So stupid too. But what is it like? How do they determine who's going to be on a grand jury for a case like this? What are they looking for in those people? And what information has that grand jury seen already that helped us know? What have they already seen? And then another question that I had was, what does it mean now if there's a grand jury involved? How does that change the outcome of this case versus if there wasn't one? Is there a penalty or do they have a certain kind of power or authority as a grand jury? What is the job of a grand jury? Like, these are really questions that I have. And I know I'm not the only person. So if you guys could help unpack the answers to those questions with all you got, then I would be grateful. For real. If there's any videos or anything you can refer me to that have that information, I would be grateful for that as well, because I'll definitely be doing some research. I spent a lot of time yesterday watching videos about mayors who were investigated by the FBI what happened in those situations, what the situations were that caused the investigations. I did a really great video for you guys about Kwame Kilpatrick and his team, and I compared them to Tiffany Henyard and the individuals in her administration. I will definitely be bringing that video to you very soon. It's done and ready to go, but there's just a lot of stuff happening in Dolton right now. That video may kind of muddy the waters with what we really need to talk about. So, but that's the questions I had as far as like the grand jury is concerned for now. And let me just remind us that this letter, these subpoenas went to the clerk. Let me ask you guys a question this as well. Will the clerk ever get these subpoenas since she's not allowed inside the village hall? That's question number one. Question number 1B, which will be answered by some information from question number 1, is why aren't Tammy Brown and Dane Placco meeting inside Village Hall in Tammy Brown's office? Since her name is on the front door, how come they're meeting outside in this windy spot across the street with her mailbox literally right behind her head? Like right behind her ear. You see that little black drop? That's the feet of her mailbox, which has been placed outside. Why isn't Tammy Brown meeting with Dane Placco inside her office, inside the village hall? And will the clerk even ever receive the subpoena since she's not allowed inside Village Hall? And if Tiffany Henyard wasn't there on Friday, who received the subpoena? These questions are just coming to me now. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. So anyway, let's continue. Those are just some questions I had. So.
Finally, someone has heard the residents of Dolton, and they're actually going to do something about it now.
One subpoena asked for the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed.
Wait a minute, because Trustee Brown is going to shed some light on those employees, but I just want to stop for a moment. They asked for records for 29 employees. Now, the only reason they didn't have those records on Friday was because they were not there. The records were not at Village Hall. That's why there's a subpoena, because one reporter actually slipped and said warrant. He said warrant, court paperwork signed by a judge. Yup. Because attorneys issue subpoenas, judges issue warrants. Am I incorrect? If I am, please let me know. So it looks to me as though they went in to get the documents, and the documents were not there. Part of this is my speculation. Most of it is. But some of this is also what has already been brought to light, which is that the documents were shredded weeks ago. But I'm guessing when the FBI went in, they went in to get the records because they did go down to the basement. The records were not there, so they subpoenaed the information and set a court date. That doesn't mean an indictment cannot come before that court date, though. Don't even think Tiffany Henyard, Keith Freeman, Tangenique Miller, Janice Johnson, Juanita Darden, William Moore, Scott Gilmore, Stacey Carell, Pete McCain, Louis Lacey, even you, Carmen Carlisle, Tiffany Henyard, if I ain't mention your old raggedy ass name, and your whole generation to infinity and beyond. Y'all got a lot of explaining. Oh, Kim Austin, thank you for making sure I included her little ugly ass. Whew, Jesus. Y'all got to understand, 29 employees' records were requested. 29. Who you think is texting each other tonight, or not answering their phone tonight, or sitting up smoking in the garage looking at each other tonight? You talking about 29 employees. 29. That's almost 30. Shit. 29 employees. Disciplinary records and personnel files. And the clerk, all of these files have been taken from her. I cannot wait to see her testimony. And I know she's going to be dressed. I know she's going to be beautiful. I know she's going to be well meditated. Her spiritual hygiene is going to be on point. Okay? She's going to be beautiful and just fine. And she's going to tell the truth. And she's going to have a sigh of relief over being able to finally tell her story. You deserve this, Clerk Key. You deserve this. 29. Now let's hear what Trustee Tammy Brown has to say about this.
The names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor.
She said all of these people are loyal to the mayor. So now we talking about, a few different things. We talking about RICO, that conspiracy. Because this is just about the 29. This ain't even got to the next subpoena yet. This is just looking, those 29 people who are quote unquote loyal. We gonna see how loyal they is. Now let me show you what I love about Dame Placco. Because Dame Placco is an old school journalist. Dame Placco studied photojournalism just like I did. And he fell in love with it just like I did. And Dame Placco understood that a picture can tell you 1,000 words. So he is very careful about the visuals that he chooses to go along with this. Now, mind you, while Tammy Brown did tell us that 29 of those are those 29 people are all loyal to Tiffany Henyard, what we have learned from other information as well is that of those 29 employees, they included, I think, 3 police officers and Keith Freeman. Did I hear that and remember that correctly? And it's so ironic that this is here telling us everything we need to know. I'm pretty sure there's some security detail on there that is rotated in and rotated out. I'm sure fucking Kim Alston is on there. Lacey is on there. But you gonna find out who's on there, because keep watching.
Last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
The second subpoena.
Now look at this damn shot. Because y'all are smart people. Why would Dame Placco choose? Hold on. Let me do it like this. Let me do it like it's supposed to be done. Give me 1 second. I'm going to slow this bitch down.
For the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton about village admin.
Look at this shot, y'all. Wait.
The names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them.
Look at her mailbox. Look at Trustee Brown's mailbox. Now, do you think Clerk Key got that subpoena if her mailbox is outside? Now watch this shot.
Loyal to the mayor.
Look who you see here. You see Chief Collins. You see Andrew Holmes. You see DeMarcus. You see Tiffany Henyard's hair in the background. It look like Tevin Campbell over here in the corner, but I'm sure that's somebody else. You see Keith Freeman's big ass. Well, not so much no more from what I hear. And then Stacy is on the other side. Now, I believe that the reason why Dame Placco included this shot, because he don't say nothing about people carrying water for 100-degree heat wave. By the way, it's 100 degrees outside right now where I live. Heat wave my ass. This is just regular weather where I live. 100 degrees, that's a good day. I came home when I saw it was 100 degrees today. I was like, time to go home. That's when the fentanyl heads is about to start tweaking because they can't handle that heat and that fentanyl. But I believe the reason why Dame Placco chose this particular footage is because it shows some of those 29 people. It really does. He's such a smart dude.
Ask for the personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dolton employees. Trustee Brown reviewed the names and told us they all have one thing in common.
All of these people are loyal to the mayor. Every last one of them are loyal to the mayor.
The second subpoena asks for information about Village Administrator Keith Freeman, Mayor Henyard's top deputy, including payments, tax records, and any contracts given to a list of companies, some of which are associated with Freeman, according to a search of LLC records.
You have two separate subpoenas for two different types of records. And that means it's what I would call a multifaceted or a multi-pronged investigation. They're not just looking at one allegation of criminal wrongdoing, but they're looking at multiple.
So what allegations do you think they might be looking at, y'all? And let me mention this too. I'm going to go back to that question while I give you a chance to think about it. You know, Tiffany Henyard always says that the news never shows up when they're doing anything positive. So her and her cronies get together one day out the blue, decide to go use taxpayers' money to go buy some cases of water and deliver it to people who they need to know that there's a new crack dealer on the block. Okay. Now, Dame Placco went, videotaped it, and asked questions. And Keith Henyard showed his ass. Per normal. Per usual. He showed his motherfucking ass. Now, you can't say they never come out and show the good things y'all are doing when they do come out and y'all block them constantly. Oh, they not allowed to ask no questions about nothing. They can only come out and say what you want them to say. Well, that means you need to pay them that $600 that they charge for like a couple hours. An afternoon drive or something. Pay for that advertising time if that's what you want to do is advertise. But they're the news. They're there to tell the truth. And this is Fox. They're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna tell nothing but the truth when it comes to what they want to tell. Okay, so please believe that they're gonna ask you questions. Don't keep inviting the news out and then telling them what they should ask you. That's stupid. That doesn't even make sense. Now the other part of what he said is all the allegations. What allegations? What allegations? What do you think is being investigated? Now, I wrote down a couple. I wrote down the RICO, of course. Tax evasion, perjury. But what else? What would those documents prove? The disciplinary and personnel records of 29 employees who are all loyal to Tiffany Henyard, and all of the names of all of the businesses and tax records related to what Keith Freeman owns and the money he's received from them and his affiliation with those projects. Because we do know his wife got some no-bid contracts. She probably going down too soon. And I wanted to give you guys, there is one more story I want to give you. Let them finish this.
Now, the subpoenas instruct a representative of Dolton to appear before the federal grand jury on May 13th at 9:30.
Y'all don't see how raggedy this shit is? This is across the street from City Hall. This building looks like it's not finished.
a.m. to return the records, to hand over the records that were requested in these two subpoenas. However, former FBI agent Ross Rice, who you heard there just a moment ago, speculates that there is still a long way to go in this investigation.
So what I thought he was gonna say was that the former FBI agent Rob Rice speculates that they ain't got the documents and they're not gonna be able to produce nothing. But he said that there's probably a long way to go in this investigation, which means that they are going to hit them with everything. They don't plan on hoping one or two charges stick. They have every single intention of a thorough fucking investigation, and there are probably going to be, somebody said it's probably going to be like 50, 60 charges on one, 128 charges on the other. Oh, and I wanted to check in with you guys and show you one other thing too. Let me see if it is in the breakdown playlist, because something happened. O'Shea Duke Jackson put a video out, and he's been doing really good work breaking down pieces of this story, because there's so much. But he's been really uncovering and unwrapping pieces to this puzzle. So I'm grateful to him for pushing out that content with this good information. It's not just, talking and dumb shit. Like, he's really putting out good information, like so many others. And if you do need to catch up on information about this particular topic that we're talking about now, which is the coming freedom and resurrection of Dolton, Illinois, then check out our breakdown playlist. That has all the videos that I watch to prepare for our shows. And if you just want to see some of our shows, then go to the My 2 Cents playlist on this channel and you'll be able to see that. But the video I wanted to take a look at next, which I didn't really plan on going into, but we flowing, so let's go ahead and do it. It's this video here. It's the third one from the top. 10 minutes and 34 seconds. He cashed a $500,000 check for City Girl Mayor and I'm not really going to, there's not really a lot to break down. I did have to watch this video a few times because I was like, this can't be what I think it is. He can't be saying what I think happened. You got to be fucking kidding me. This ghetto shit is actually taking place. Like, this hood booger shit is actually a part of this story, and it is. I had to watch it a couple times. I was like, ain't no way. It ain't no motherfucking way they doing this dumb shit. But it was. It is. So I won't be doing a whole lot of interrupting. Again, this is being used according to fair use to shed light on this whole Dolton story. So
what's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson.
Oh, and I said I was going to read the comments on the other video too. So after we're done watching this, I'll jump over there and do that.
Back at it again. Another episode of The Slippery Jump. Theme Inspector Gadget Music. Politicians have a lot of power, and they have a choice of how they want to use it. Some politicians use their power to bring people together and to develop the community and in the city in which they serve. Other politicians use their power for greed and to intimidate others to get what they want. And of course, that sounds a lot like Tiffany Henyard. But stop the show. It's even worse than what you think. You see, when Tiffany Henyard got into office, she inherited a new budget with a lot of money because of the former mayor, Riley Rogers, and, COVID had happened, so it wasn't a whole lot of government spending. So the new trustee board wanted to really give her what she needed to revitalize the city. Now, although she didn't have any plan to bring any economic development to the city, she had a big plan to spend a lot of money. And that's probably because she wanted to be reelected in 2025. And she wanted to spend a lot of money, but sometimes there were checks and balances. The trustees didn't want to give her everything. So instead of working with the trustees, this happened.
Just for the record, and the reason I guess I want all of the citizens to know why we're so adamant about this budget and what's going on. May 12, 2021, a resolution was passed. The following persons are hereby authorized to be added as signatories for all city accounts: Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Village Clerk Allison Key. Any prior signatories or individuals authorized and hereby removed from the accounts, prior authorization is revoked. Number of signatures required are a combination of both signatures. At the approval of payment by the village board, each check shall be signed by the mayor and the clerk. We have a $500,000 check signed by Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Y'all wonder why we worried about the money? This is why we worried about the money. $561,000 check with one signature on there. It's a problem. That means that money is being spent, and after we don't find out till after the check's been cashed. That's why we up here complaining about it.
Oh, we're gonna watch that again. Now, I know you guys have heard this before, but a lot of pieces are being put together in this particular video. A lot of puzzle pieces are being put together. We've heard about this check. We saw Dolton people writing about this in the comments on videos. We saw it last year. This check is not new news, but what's to come is the information that is to come. That a lot of the dots are being connected. The DOTTS. But I want us to go back and hear Trustee Belcher one more time. Thank you so much, Trustee Belcher, for having the energy to explain that to the people in a way that could be recorded and duplicated and understood, because what you said that night, it was just a few seconds, but it made such a huge difference in this situation. So thank you for being obedient to yourself, Trustee Belcher, and being so bold in this. Let me go ahead and go back so that you can hear her explain this again, if you don't mind. I don't think I meant to go back that far. We'll start here.
Spend a lot of money, but sometimes there were checks and balances. The trustees didn't want to give her everything. So instead of working with the trustees, this happened.
Just for the record, and the reason I guess I want all of the citizens to know why we're so adamant about this budget and what's going on. May 12, 2021, a resolution was passed. The following persons are hereby authorized to be added as signatories for all city accounts: Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Village Clerk Allison Key. Any prior signatories or individuals authorized and hereby removed from the accounts, prior authorization is revoked. Number of signatures required are a combination of both signatures. After approval of payment by the village board, each check shall be signed by the mayor and the clerk. We have a $500,000 check signed by Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Y'all wonder why we worried about the money? This is why we worried about the money. $561,000 check with one signature on there. It's a problem. That means that money is being spent, and after we don't find out till after the check's been cashed. That's why we up here complaining about it.
So let me give you guys a little bit of a timeline, okay? I appreciate you, Trustee Belcher. I have been wanting to talk about this and kind of put this together for a long time, and I didn't really know how. And O'Shea Duke Jackson takes it to a whole nother level because there's even more information that we'll get into in just a few minutes. I said I wasn't going to break this down, but there's a lot here. So let me give you a timeline. So Tiffany Henyard became mayor around May 8th, 2021. When she first became mayor, she could not get on the bank account. Surprised? She said, her own words, she had to jump through hoops. She didn't say loopholes like she did last time. She said she had to jump through a lot of hoops just to get on the bank account, which means she probably had no business being on a bank account. Because it shouldn't be that difficult for somebody to just add you to a corporate account as a signer. But she couldn't get on the bank account. That was the first opportunity. You know, when you drive into that nigga's house and you know you ain't got no business driving to that nigga's house and your car break down and it ain't never broke down before. And AAA come, they figure it out, it ain't no big deal. It's just a quick short and a flip, but you decide to keep going on to that nigga's house. Well, this was the first opportunity to turn around and go back home. When she had problems getting on the bank account. So she gets on the bank account, right? Now, at some point, the trustees got real smart and stopped approving things on the warrant list. Now, there are, as we saw, May 12, 2021, the resolution was written that if a check, a manual paper check, was released by the Village of Dolton, it was required that it would have 2 signatures on it. Now, manual checks are rare. Let me say that first, because I feel like Trustee Jason House wants me to say that. Manual checks are rare. I have seen where there were no manual checks on a warrant list, on an AP warrant list. No manual checks. And then after Tiffany became mayor, all of a sudden there were 15,000, 500,000. So unheard of. Here's the other thing about a manual check. It's required that there be 2 signatures. Clerk Key and Tiffany Henyard. Now, Clerk Key had a stamp. Somebody asked before, who the fuck puts a signature on a stamp? Busy people. People who write a lot of checks. For many businesses, a signature stamp is part of your welcome pack, because it's expected that you sign a check with the stamp, so you ain't using your fingers all day. Well, what Tiffany Henyard was doing at first was, instead of going to Clerk Key and having her use her stamp for these emergency checks that nobody ever has to write, but all of a sudden Tiffany Henyard does, for a gas leak or a water main break or something. You notice they never say nothing about spending money to fix fire hydrants. But Tiffany Henyard started using Clerk Allison Key's stamp on those checks without her permission. So checks were being written in the village name with Tiffany's 3rd grade signature, which we've seen now, and Clerk Key's grown woman stamp. That's called forgery. It's against the law. It's identity theft. I mean, there's so much. Well, let me continue, because it gets better. So after some time, instead of using Clerk Key's stamp, now Tiffany Henyard decides to start writing checks and just being the only person to sign them. One of them being this $563,000 check that she wrote to 5 Star Construction. This shit is crazy. She don't give a fuck how dumb it is. And $500,000 ain't that much money to be going to prison over. Man. So I just wanted to explain that situation, because there was a lot right there that Trustee Belcher said, and there was a lot of backstory to it. So I just wanted to bring you up to date as to how all of that ties into what's going to happen moving forward. So there was a check, $563,000, written to 5 Star Construction with Tiffany Henyard's signature on it only. Now, many of us assumed she took that check, gave it to 5 Star Construction, and 1 or 2 things happened. One thing might have happened was she sent it to 5 Star Construction. They sent it through their corporate bank account. It was cashed for some work that they did. The second thing that we guessed, and most likely she did, our second guess was still wrong, okay? But our second guess was that she had taken that check, given it to 5 Star, they cashed it, took their cut, and gave her the rest, i.e. she got a kickback. Oh, but it gets even worse.
That's right. The trustees found out that people's names had been taken off the bank account. And by the way, they're still fighting that out in court right now. They still haven't got certain statements in the last 7 months, so we really don't know how much money she spent. But she authorized a check for over $500,000. The question is, who cashed it? Fast forward! That brings me to this post that I saw today, which was on Jedediah Brown's Facebook account. And it says this: Sad music! He lost his business and legacy check cashing. Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's bogus checks. The feds been in town. However, if you're still aiding them in any way, from providing burner phones to providing safe haven, if we find you, then you have to go. We don't want no trash left in Dolton. The residue of this administration must be eradicated. Ask yourself, is it worth it? Okay? So now let's zoom in on this particular arrow. That arrow is supposedly the car of Tiffany Henyard, from what I believe. So I started going through the comments and it says things like, oh wow, this happened today. And person goes, no, I don't think so, because I went to get my nails done on Wednesday and this is next door and it was all boarded up. I don't know when this picture was taken. Another person goes, no, this been happening. The FBI been in town. This now coming out why the business has been closed. He got mixed up with the mayor, either volunteer or not. Now, the people here, I'm going to blur their names out, but I won't blur out this next person, Valeria Stubbs. She commented on this post. Give her a round of applause.
Shout out to Trustee, former Cook County Sheriff, business owner, Valeria Stubbs. I would love it if she became a trustee again, just for old time's sake. Give us one good term. For real.
She's a former police officer, former trustee, and also ran for mayor. And that brings me to a group that I got into, which is a Dolton Politics group. And rewind! So, September 21st, 2023, she made this post. Does anyone know why the currency exchange is closed on Martin Luther King? So that post, I was there just reading some of the comments, and then it all made sense. This guy who owns this place most likely did something very terrible. Can you guess what he did? Drum roll, please! He cashed that check for $566,000 for Tiffany Henyard. So again, remember, the FBI came to Dolton about 2 months.
Okay, so I am not like a hood ghetto gutter person. So I could not, for some reason, connect the dots. You know, them DOTTS. I couldn't connect the dots that he actually cashed this check for Tiffany Henyard. Like she went into this check cashing place and the owner cashed the check for her. I was like, that can't be what happened. It can't be that she wrote this check for 5-Star Construction and she signed it as the signer of the check and went into a check cashing place and cashed the check as the receiver too. This is some ghetto fucking shit. I never in my intelligent, sophisticated, elegant imagination thought this woman was dumb enough to write a check out to a company and then go and try to cash that same check as the receiver of the check. What made this man think they wasn't gonna get caught up in some bullshit? Number one, Tiffany Henyard is a name only associated with the mayor of Dolton. Now, I could see if it was Jaguar Wright, because we looked up Jaguar Wright's name, and we've seen a lot of credible people. A psychologist, an opera singer. We saw a teacher. We saw a lot of great people whose names were Jacqueline Suzette Wright. We saw a lot of great people. But when we look up Tiffany Henyard, we don't see any other Tiffany Henyards from any other walk of life. Not here, not there, not anywhere. So if I was the mayor of a village, just let you know her low self-worth and how she didn't even realize what the seat that she sat in. She said she's the most powerful woman in the Southland, but you're not behaving like it. Because powerful people don't behave like Pookie. This is some Pookie shit. This is the same exact shit that got... What's your name? Tell me your name. Was it Eric Floyd? I wasn't in America when that happened. I'm very glad that I wasn't. Eric Floyd, is that your name? Am I getting it right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the same shit that got him killed, doing some pookie shit. Now, I'm not saying he deserved what happened to him or that what he did was in any way connected to why what caused his murder. I'm not saying none of that. I'm not putting them DOTTSs together. What I'm saying was the catalyst, he went into a store with some counterfeit currency, doing some pookie shit. I'm going to leave it at that. That's the end of the conversation. That's all I want to talk about when it comes to him. It's the same dumbass shit Tiffany Henyard did. I still can't wrap my mind around a woman of excellence, a mayor, the dream of a king, and what's Malcolm? And an ex. You are Mary Bethune McLeod's dream. I can't say her name. McLeod Bethune. Forgive me for not saying it right. Harriet Tubman. You are their dream. You are who they wanted to be at some point. And you had the dumb ass, stupid, pookie ass mentality. Who does that? I'm really going to tell y'all, because I literally had to watch this video a few times because I was like, I must have missed something. You know how you be like, I must have missed one little element of what he said, because there's no way in hell this stupid bitch wrote a check out to a corporation, signed the check with her name, where there's 2 signature lines, she only signed 1, and then took that check into a check cashing place and tried to cash it to herself. And the guy did it. Like, that's a whole nother level. The fact that the owner actually did it, and from what I understand and what we'll see here, his store had been closed for a while. He opened shop just to do this dumb shit. Why? So he could get the 35% fee? Let's not even talk about the guy doing it yet. I'm not ready to talk about that yet. I'm still stuck at the ghetto fact. Ma'am, your lovely daughter needs to be popped upside the fucking head. This would not be a crime my mother would be proud of. And let's just say you come from a family of hooligans. Let's more appropriately call them low down, no good, bitch ass niggas. Let's say let's just hypothetically say a person comes from a family, because we've seen people whose family ain't nobody in their family, right? Not one motherfucker you look up in their family is on some good shit. Doing some good shit. Tiffany Henyard's mama, what's your name? This is your daughter. This is your child. Your lovely child. Not only is she a crook, she's a dumb one. Doing this ghetto, pookie, Felicia bullshit. This bitch done asked you if she could borrow your microwave, ho. I can't even for the life of me imagine how... I don't even like to use the word ghetto because it's always associated with black people. But man, what other word can I use? Niggerish. Thank you, Bernie Mac. This nigga here, thank you, I appreciate you. Because he also said I want to say motherfucker. But it don't hit like nigga. This is some corner store nigga shit. Dumb shit. Tiffany Henyard, I want to see how much of this money you used to buy some stocks. If you were really smart, you would have bought up a whole bunch of them bonds y'all just sold and made money off of the money you stole. But you ain't that smart. You ain't that kind of criminal. You the dumbass kind of criminal that will sign your name to a check written to somebody else and take that same check somewhere and try to cash it. And you did. Not because you are smart, because obviously both of y'all dumb.
Months ago, and there was a brother by the name of Lawrence Gardner who had this to say.
Lawrence Gardner owns a U-Haul rental and trucking business in South Suburban Dolton and says he went to the FBI several months ago, frustrated that the Village of Dolton would not renew his business license. Gardner says he's been harassed and his business raided and shut down by Dolton police. He believes because he refused to make a donation to a civic event sponsored by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
And I talked to a couple of agents and I explained them what was going on. I gave them all my paperwork to show them what was happening in court and what was happening in Dolton. And they told me they was investigating and they would be in touch with me.
He wasn't the only one. There's a guy who owned a barbecue store who also said this.
Using public employees and tax dollars for personal benefit and holding up licenses to certain businesses like this Dolton restaurant.
I've heard rumors that say, hey, I'm on the wrong team.
Dwayne Wood has been trying to renew the business license for his restaurant for nearly a year. While he has not talked to the FBI, he believes he can't get approved because he's provided catering to several Dolton trustees who are engaged in a political fight with Henyard.
I just want to take a moment because that hair, Jesus. Oh, why is that color so important to you? It doesn't look good on you, honey. Brandon. I saw a picture with one person doing her hair and one person doing her makeup. One of y'all needs to talk her into changing her hair. I don't give a fuck what y'all do. All of y'all can go to hell for all I care. Shit.
I think I've been just targeted because of my association affiliation with a certain group of people. You know, I had the trustees. I've cooked for the trustees.
You see, these are two business owners who had been retaliated against because why? They didn't want to go along with the Tiffany Henyard administration, so they had been targeted. So they were not allowed to get business licenses. Their businesses were pretty much isolated from the Dolton economy. It also happened to this particular bar.
They just rushed in here, put police at the front of the door like they was doing a raid on the drug house or something.
A team of Dolton police officers raided and shut down Pablo's Bar and Cafe and Rinky's Bar and Cafe, both located on Sibley, about a block apart.
Everything going peacefully. Nothing going on. It's like 10 police cars came in and they start pushing customers from here. And he said, if you don't leave, we're going to lock you up.
Employees and owners say it's part of an ongoing campaign of harassment.
And let me just say this. When those businesses were shut down, the business closure was signed by Deputy Chief Louis Lacey.
Like Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, that is costing jobs and money. Their business licenses have been stripped by Dolton, but they've continued to operate with a state license.
I have like over 23 employees. They work from the local township. Now, end of the day, all the employees, they're gonna lose them job.
So I'm trying to put this all together. I looked at this particular screenshot and then I looked for the name. It says Lon Lewis Goodman. Lon Goodman was a white guy who owned New Dolton Currency Exchange Incorporated. Here's what I believe most likely happened. There are two scenarios. A, he had been doing shady stuff from the beginning and it finally caught up with him. Or B, he cashed that check and the FBI has been gathering more evidence on Tiffany Henyard. Let's look at this particular comment by this person. He is a good guy. He probably was under the pressure of Mayor and Lacey. Lacey's the police chief. He's been there for years. Before them, he is not a corrupt. Some people do things out of pressure. Another person says, Lon was a good guy. He put those yellow barriers up after a car plowed through the currency exchange and pinned me to the wall. I hate he is mixed up in this, and I wish him the best. So basically, when I go through the comments of the people, and this is a white guy, this is an all-black city. Also, another person comments that his business is still shut down, so I'm gonna assuming Lonnie is not opening back up. Weird, because he let me accidentally sign my check and go in there and sign again in front of them. They will not accept it. So I've never had them do any shady check cashing stuff with me. Must have only been for them big spenders. The person says it's not going to open back up. He lost his license. Then the person says, damn. So basically, this guy loses his money, loses his business, loses everything for dealing with our girl, Tiffany Henyard.
Well, I mean, let me kind of put a different light on it. Because when I sold advertising for a radio station, I've mentioned before, it was very important to me that because about 93% of my listeners of the radio station were black, it was important to me that the businesses and products that I sold advertising for were good for our community. Check cashing places were not one of those places. No place that will take your hard-earned paycheck and keep 25 to 35% of it just because they cashed it for you is good for the community. And they never put any of that money back into the community. So I appreciate Karma for going in and giving us a good old twofer.
Most likely feeling like, if I do it, well, I can stay open in business. If I don't, she's going to close my business down. And as we've heard, for these 3 different business owners who are not breaking the law, who are trying to pay taxes, but refuse to donate into her government or to support her, she's taking it out on them. I guess the question is, what would you do? Well, I would rather do this. I'd probably rather go out of business than to go and get the FBI coming to raid me. That's why you see this picture here. In all things, unfortunately, we got to do the right thing, even if it means we can't pay our bills or take care of our kids. And even though get the FBI coming to raid me. That's why you see this picture here. In all things, unfortunately, we got to do the right thing, even if it means...
Oh, I'm trying to... When was that check actually written? Let me let this story finish, and I want to actually answer the question of when that check was written, because I believe that picture was FBI surveillance showing Tiffany Henyard at that man's location.
What would you do? Well, I would rather do this. I'd probably rather go out of business than to go and get the FBI coming to raid me. That's why you see this picture here. In all things,
Yeah, I believe this picture is them being there together, because they said his business had been closed and then all of a sudden it was open for that one day. What does this say? Whatever it is, it's backwards. It looks like a Google Maps picture, but why is there a Google Maps picture with Mayor Henyard's truck and another vehicle in it? That would be weird. Unless they used Google Maps to do surveillance. Unless they use Google Maps, and when Google Maps is going around taking pictures of streets and landmarks and stuff, they're actually doing some FBI surveillance. Because FBI has their hands in everybody. I mean, the FBI has an office at Facebook. Isn't Facebook owned by Google or something like that? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI used Google, their map service, to do surveillance, because it would be very interesting to me if they just happen to be doing Google Maps. I mean, we see the Google Maps in the corner. If that's what that is, it might be something else. I might not be familiar with what I'm looking at enough to know. But it says see more dates right here. See more dates. Something Street View. It's it's a mirrored picture. Oh, okay, I see. The picture is cut in half. It's mirrored. So this is actually the picture. SIO. What should that say? And then Street View. Yeah, I think I think the FBI is using Google Maps to do surveillance. So keep an eye out, honey, because you see the pin. You see the pin. You see the map. You see the little man. See more dates. That's something I didn't expect to learn today. Very interesting.
Fortunately, we got to do the right thing, even if it means we can't pay our bills or take care of our kids. And even though you got a gangster like Tiffany Henyard in office, you still got to do what's right. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it.
I would definitely love to know what you guys think about that too. I also want to go back and look at that check because I have not made note of the date. So let me take a look. That check, April 8th, 2022. April 8th, 2022. So the funny thing is Tiffany Henyard became mayor on May 8th, 2021. Not even a year in, she doing this shit. That's why I said she shouldn't have been allowed to do fireworks shows and all that other bullshit if she wasn't showing a track record of responsibility and cooperation and leadership. There's no way that money should ever have even been released to her to do those things. Not even a year in, and she's still in $561,000. Say it with me, Stan. $561,821.45. And look at her childish ass signature. Oh my God, if that don't look like a kid's signature. I want to know what was written. Oh, that was the check number. So the check was written to K5 Construction, which is a company that is in Westmont, but the check was cashed in Dolton. That was the first tip. Okay? Because remember, they've been under FBI electronic surveillance for a while. So you got a company from Westmont, but the check is cashed in Dolton. And apparently, this check was cashed and paid out to this raggedy bitch right here, Tiffany Henyard. It just, for some reason, I could see her doing a whole lot of things, but that right there just seems so elementarily stupid to me. To have a check written to a company and then go and try to cash that check after you've already signed it, and there's 2 lines for signatures. Like, everybody involved in this dumb shit is stupid. Did you not think you were going to get caught? Yeah, they going to let you go ahead and cash that check, but they paying attention. They ain't never not paying attention. Lord. That's some crazy, stupid shit. And once I finally did realize what the fuck was actually going on, I was like, wow, it's the dumbest answer that is the correct answer. It is the simplest scheme that is the one. You didn't think any further than this. Like, this is Jesus. I'm going to keep my mouth shut for now. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. Yeah, I'm tired. I holla. This dumb bitch. Ugh. Oh, shit, I said I was going to look at the comments on the other video, huh? Should I do it, y'all? Okay, good. Thank you for letting me go to bed. I holla.